Hello and welcome into the 2019 Ohio Varsity Senior Slam and Underclassmen Showcase at Ursuline College in the Jane and Lee Seidman Gymnasium. Of course, a big sponsor of today's game is the Wounded Warrior Project, and we'll first read off a statement from Melissa MacArthur, the manager of events at the Wounded Warrior Project. She said, "It is with extreme pleasure that Wounded Warrior Project announces its support for the 2019 Ohio Varsity Senior Slam and Underclassmen Showcase, an event to benefit wounded service members throughout the Wounded Warrior Project. The Wounded Warrior Project is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Tens of thousands of wounded warriors receive support each year through Wounded Warrior programs and services designed to nurture the mind and body and encourage economic empowerment and engagement. Whether through caregiver retreats, combat stress recovery programs, career and education services, or adaptive sporting opportunities, the Wounded Warrior Project empowers warriors with the tools essential to not just survive their injuries, but to thrive and achieve personal and professional success. This organized event is committed to Wounded Warrior Project and the wounded service members Wounded Warrior Project proudly serves. With the help of individuals coming together in their communities, the Wounded Warrior Project can strive to fulfill their vision to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded warriors in our nation's history. This event has permission from the Wounded Warrior Project to raise funds on their behalf. If you have any questions or need any further information, please contact Melissa at events@woundedwarriorproject.org. Now, to get on to what's happening today, we're going to have a pair of games. Those two games are going to be first an underclassmen game and then the senior showcase. Each team is going to represent a branch of the military. There's the Army All-Stars, the Navy All-Stars, the Air Force All-Stars, and the Marine All-Stars for today's game. We're going to get things started with a first game that begins at 2 p.m. And that game is going to be between the Marines and the Air Force All-Stars, the two underclassmen programs. So let's quickly read off some of the schools and some of the players on each of those teams. Cardinal, Eastlake North, Kirtland, Berkshire, Mayfield, as well as Mentor, Perry, Fairport, Harding, Independence, Riverside, Geneva, West Geauga, and finally Cardinal High School will be represented by these two teams. And we've got a host of great players on these two squads as well. We've got all CVC members, we've got all WRC members, and of course, we're going to have a host of others who have bigger awards, including a couple of finalists for Player of the Year. We'll have Maddie Bilinovich in the second game. She's a libero for Independence. Margot Huff, a middle hitter for Willoughby South. Jordan Van Sil, who's an outside hitter for Geneva. Jaden Walls, an outside hitter and a setter for Brooklyn. And finally, Candace Woodward, a libero and defensive specialist for Perry. Now, Mike Fitzgerald is one of the coaches today. We'll catch up with him in a minute or so. But once we catch up with Mike Fitzgerald, of course, we'll talk a bit about Candace. We'll talk a bit about Perry's season. And we'll get things underway. But first, we've got a different coach that we're going to talk to. And this coach, not Mike Fitzgerald, but a guy pretty familiar with Mike Fitzgerald. This guy is
Mike, yes.
Right. Bill has been with Willoughby South for, 14 years now? And
14, yeah.
a coach in the Cleveland area for 25 years. First, a great area to be a coach in volleyball. A lot of competitive teams, particularly in the CVC and the WRC this year. And now you're going to see quite a few of them on show today.
Yes, yeah. Just got back from the state tournament over the weekend. Northeastern Ohio, in this particular area, we sent 5 teams to the States.
Well, and yesterday alone, you had 2 teams play. You had Independence. They lost in 5 sets, but
Correct.
still made it to the state finals.
Right.
And then Padua, although not a member of any of these conferences, another Northeast Ohio
Correct.
team that went out there, and they lost to Columbus DeSales last night. It's interesting. This is the first year in a very long time that a Northeast Ohio team didn't win a state championship.
You are so right. We sent a lot of teams down there, and that really goes to show just the level of talent that we have in Northeastern Ohio. Setting that many teams down, first time in a while that we haven't had a state champion, which is a little shocking to, I think, to a lot of people around. But just that level of volleyball that we have and that we represent is such, we play at such a high level. It's a great thing.
Right. And Bill, you've been around this game for so long, and you may be one of the better people to talk to about how when you make it to those Final Four games, when you make it to those final games, the level of talent is so high, it could be something as simple as one call on a line that sends the mentality of a younger player to the edge that could cause a big difference, and that's where the coaching comes in. That's where people like you who nurture these young minds and get them ready, not just for playing in college or whatever it is, but get them ready realistically for life after high school athletics come into play.
You couldn't have put it better. walking into Wright State, it's a huge facility.
Oh, yeah.
And any state championship game, that you walk into sectionals, you walk into districts, it's a different level of play. You make it out of districts, you make it to regionals. That's a whole different level. You walk into states, and you have to be able to be mentally prepared. You have to be able to handle that. One call is going to turn it one way or the other, and if you let that one call bother you, it could be potentially damaging to you.
Right, and you talk about events like these. Yes, the events like yesterday are super exciting, and those are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for a lot of these players, but same thing with this, a little different facet because it's more of an individual thing, but these guys practiced, a week ago, and these guys have all worked really hard throughout the season. They're now trying out for club teams. A lot of them will play together, even if they're from separate schools on the same club team. What's an event like this mean to these kids?
This is an opportunity that for them to play a game that they truly love and have just not as much pressure as they're used to. It's for them to actually get out and play the game of volleyball and have fun playing the game of volleyball without that added pressure. They get to play with opponents. They get to play with rivals, which sort of brings that, it really is a game. There's some intensity in there, but it is just a game, and we can have the ability to have fun and just be friends. And it sort of helps with that mindset a little bit, where it's intense. Oh, wait, I do get to play this game and have fun.
Well, and you're the coach of Willoughby South, but when you look at your roster real quick, you got Abby Carter from East Lake North. That's a rival school.
Yep.
Sammy DeBeese from Perry, another rival school. And Faith Tolley from Fairport Harding, again, another school that if you guys are playing on the average Friday night for football, if you guys are playing on Saturday afternoon for volleyball, you don't want to get along with those players.
Correct. Yeah, we talk about all the time when we're not in that 900 square feet of that court, we're friends outside. But as soon as you step on that court, you have to pick up that level of intensity. You have to be able to look at the other side and not know that they're your friend. You have to know that they're, number 4, number 6, whatever their number is, and you have to come out aggressive and just play your best.
Now, at the same rate, but at the other end, game number 2, you got a couple of Willoughby South girls on there. You've got Katie Mendenhall, Lauren Vraban, you've got Isabella Gemma. So you've got a lot of players in game 2. Are you going to stick around and watch them?
I think I have
to. You wouldn't want to coach game 1 and be caught sneaking out of the doors before game 2.
Not a chance. What's really cool about the next match is, not to take anything away from this one, but the next match is, it's the last time that these seniors are ever going to put on a uniform and play volleyball, unless, some of them are going to go on and play in college, I understand, but as a high school athlete, it's the last time that they're going to have that opportunity. And what a cool way to end that high school career before they move on, playing in an all-star game like this, representing all the armed forces. It's very cool.
Yeah, and these are seniors who have played for you for 4 years, and whether they were on the JV squad first and moved to the varsity squad, however it worked out, do you want to give us a scouting report on those 3 players for game number 2?
3 of the best leaders that we have in our program. It might be, they all have different levels of leadership. One's going to walk on and she's a motivator, and the other one's going to walk on and she can break the game down completely, and the other one's going to be able to bring her team completely together whenever they need it. If one of those, like you said earlier, one of those calls where I really thought that was out but the ref called it in, all right, she'll be able to bring those teams up. But those 3 together, it's going to be fun to watch them play one last time.
Well, and what you just said was something really interesting. You said someone that can bring people together despite a call from an official. High school sports right now are going through a tough time with when you're looking at major league sports having all these replayable reviews and stuff. We don't have that technology in high school. So instead, a lot of times you hear people, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, whether it's parents, arguing and trying to say, oh, man, you're a terrible official. But, a wise coach once told me, I won't say his name, but this was an example in baseball after another coach had gotten thrown out for arguing balls and strikes. He said, hey, how many pitches do you think were thrown in that game? And the other coach said, well, about 400. And he said, do you think it's really worth getting thrown out over one pitch? Don't you want to try and win the other 399? I think that's a lesson that we need to take into the high school ranks too. There are 5 sets in today's game.
Right.
Best of 25, or whoever gets to 25 first for the first 4 of them. You can't argue about that 1 point.
No.
That 0.75% of the game. Instead,
that's it.
You got to end up going forward and winning the other 99.25% of the game.
Right. Yeah, when you've got, it's a very simple, the winning team has got to score a minimum of 75 points. Mm-hmm. You can't argue 1.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still 74 to whatever, however much that you scored if you're the losing team. But eh, that 1 point, that one play, that one questionable. We tell our girls all the time, don't let the officials dictate this game. You dictate the game. If it's close, play it. If it's not close, let it go out and just roll with whatever the officials bring you.
Now, what's your favorite aspect of this game?
Relaxed.
Okay.
It's so relaxed. My assistant was down there, and this is the first All-Star game that she's ever really been involved in. She's been to them and she's watched them before. But she came in and she just looked around. She said, "Oh my gosh, like, yeah, there's people in the gym, but it's not that craziness of, we got to get after them, and I have to sit on this side and I have to sit on that side, and we're trying to figure out what the home and the visitor side is." There's one side. It's the home and the visitors. We're here for the kids. We're here just to make sure that they have some fun while they're out there playing, and just hopefully learn something very simple from this game.
Yeah, well, Coach, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
input and for coming on, and good luck in this tournament, and of course beyond, because I imagine you're going to be in this sport for a lot longer.
No ideas of leaving anytime soon. One day when it comes around.
Of course. Well, thanks for coming on, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Once again, that was Willoughby South's head coach, Bill Barron, and a great year for Willoughby South, a great year for Bill. But now we're going to have a conversation with a different guy, the coach for the Marine All-Stars, Mike Fitzgerald from Perry High School. This is Mike's first season at Perry, and he got a lot accomplished this year for the Perry Pirates. The Pirates had not made the conference, or had not won the conference title, since the 2004 season. But Mike, when you coach them this year, you immediately get that CVC title, and it's not as though this was your first year in the CVC. You've been at Fairport Harding for some period of time. You've been around this area for quite some time.
Yes.
What did you think that means for the program specifically?
Well, it definitely picked up some morale around the program. They were lacking in that prior to me getting there. I also know the younger kids, the middle schoolers, are pretty pumped to come on up to the high school now.
Yeah, and something where it's a cultural change to a certain extent, where now that you've won the first one, a lot of your underclassmen are thinking, all right, let's see what's going to happen next year. Can we have a repeat championship? What can we do? And I was talking with Bill about this a little bit earlier, but this game throws things off a little bit because you're not coaching that same group of girls, right? But you do have a unique opportunity. You're coaching some Geneva girls who you've coached against, some Cardinal or West G girls who you've probably seen this year. So what's that like for you as a coach? You've coached against these players, but now you get to coach them specifically.
Well, we kind of joked about it before the game even started, that they're the ones I know what to expect out of because I've seen them play. But I don't know, it's pretty exciting coaching new girls. They seem pretty energetic and ready to have some fun today. So.
All right, what's your favorite aspect of a game like this as opposed to a game that has a little bit more bearing on, let's say, your program, right? You know, you just finished playing in tournament play. Prior to that, you had all the conference play. Those were all very high-leverage games. Now you get to take a step back and have a little bit of fun, right?
A lot less stress-free. I get to watch a little more maybe on both sides and just have some fun, which, you know, the games are always fun, but like I said, the stress level goes down a little bit, so.
Now, on the other side of the court, you do have a player that you coached all year long. You got Sammy DeBees. How are you going to try and coach against Sammy rather than for Sammy today?
I'm gonna try and block Sammy is what I'm going to do today.
Well,
she's already taunted me today, so we'll see what happens.
Well, then the next game, you've got your pair of seniors that did so much for you. Know, Candace got her 1,000th dig this year. She's one of the Player of the Year nominees for Ohio Varsity's Player of the Year. And Amanda Schultz certainly had a good season as well.
Yes, we're definitely going to miss both of them next year. It'll be some fun watching them play and having fun, and, you know.
Right, so when you're looking at 3 Perry players who made this tournament specifically, what does each one bring to the table a little bit differently?
A little bit different. Sammy, she was our top hitter, our top offensive player. Candace definitely, she could tear up the back row. And Mandy, she's just all-around good player, good, very coachable player. So.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see Sammy next year in your same program because a lot of people talk about in years 2, 3, and 4 when people understand what you're trying to bring to the table specifically. Well, in year 1, you did a really good job with the Pirates program. Now you get kind of the same mentality coming in. You know, in those summer workouts, people know what to expect already, right?
Yeah. Definitely they know what to expect now. We had a much larger turnout than the year before, and I just hope it to be bigger every year.
So what's your coaching philosophy? What do you think is the most important thing for a team to be successful on the volleyball court?
Well, I like to keep the kids happy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
They had a miserable couple years prior to me coming there. And I like to joke around a lot, and we just keep them, a lot of team bonding, stuff like that.
Well, and that's a lot of chemistry, right? And
Right.
a lot of people just don't fully understand, if they didn't play the sport, how important chemistry is in volleyball. You know, you've got a back row, you got a front row, and then you got people next to each other. They have to kind of expect what the other person's going to do, so you don't have collisions or so you don't watch the ball fall between.
Yes, correct.
And a lot of that's worked out in practice, whether it's through the joking around like you mentioned, or a lot of that chemistry is different than so many sports. I mean, you talk about, let's say, baseball or soccer. It's not quite there as much with the small spacing that you have in volleyball.
Yeah, I also think that they know all about me now, so I think we'll turn it up a little bit next year and try and push a little deeper in the playoffs, take it a little more serious.
Mm-hmm. So what did you get, because you've had one or two practices with this group specifically now.
We had one, yeah.
So what did you get from that practice from this group?
Well, I didn't have three of the girls from Independence there based on the fact they were at state championships. Mm-hmm. I'm actually excited to watch to see what they can do today. I know they're pretty good players. We just kind of scrimmaged the senior Navy team on that day, and we actually ended up beating them best out of three, so I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
So we'll see what they can do today. I know this Air Force team has some big hitters, including Sammy, so
all about blocking up front.
Gotta put the block up, yeah.
Those three Independence girls had a pretty long day yesterday, too.
Yeah.
5 sets. It was a disappointing loss, but I was actually just talking with Bill about this. Northeast Ohio has great volleyball programs. This is the first time in recent memory where a Northeast Ohio team did not win a state championship. Yeah. However, you saw Padua, you saw Independence, a couple other Northeast Ohio schools made it there. How cool is that to know that within 10 miles of where you're playing or 20 miles of where you're playing, you've got 2 or 3 schools making it to the state championship game every year?
I guess it's really cool, unless they're a team that beats you throughout the season.
At least it makes you feel a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
You know, you lose to the team that wins the championship. Well, okay, they are a pretty good team, right? It verifies that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, I know you got to get down there and talk to your girls. Thank you so much for your time,
I appreciate your
good
time.
luck today.
All right, thank you.
All right, once again, that was Coach Mike Fitzgerald of the Perry Pirates, but in today's game, he's going to be coaching the Marine All-Stars. Now, just about 5 to 10 minutes away, we're looking at 10 minutes before we have the first serve here, but all the girls who were warming up about to exit the court, and more importantly, we're going to end up having the pregame festivities. We're going to have announcements, which we'll step away from so you guys can hear those. In addition to that, we'll have the performing of the Star-Spangled Banner and a lot of other things. But first, let's introduce these Air Force and Marine All-Stars a little bit more closely, beginning with this Air Force team. Haley Doman, Abby Carter, Maria Alfieri, Delaney Tusick, Megan Kosas, Ella Rogers, Sammy DeBeese, Molly Chapman, and Ava Golem, as well as Faith Tolley, will be on that team. And here's the announcements. We'll step aside.
Number 3 is a junior middle hitter outside hitter from East Lake North, Abby Carter. Go Flashes. Number 5 is a sophomore center right side hitter from Kirtland, Maria Alfieri. Number 7 is a junior outside hitter defensive specialist from Berkshire, Delaney Tusick. Number 11 is a junior outside hitter, right side hitter from Mayfield, Megan Kosas. Number 12 is a sophomore outside hitter, right side hitter from Mentor, Ella Rogers. 13 is a sophomore outside hitter from Perry, Sammy DiBiase. Number 14 is a junior middle hitter at center from Berkshire, Molly Chapman. Number 17 is a freshman libero defensive specialist from Kirtland, Ava Golem. Number 24 is a junior outside hitter, right side hitter from Fairport Harding, Faith Tully. The Air Force All-Stars are coached by Bill Penrod of Willoughby South and assisted by Abby Safer. And now for the Marine All-Stars, Semper Fi. Number 1 is a freshman outside hitter, middle hitter from Kirtland, Natalie Glow. Number 4 is a sophomore outside hitter, defensive specialist from Independence, Hannah Wilson. Number 5 is a sophomore center from Independence, Abby Avila. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to congratulate Abby for setting a new state record for most assists in a 5-set match at the state tournament. Abby recorded 59 assists in yesterday's Division III state championship game. Congratulations, Abby. Number 7 is a junior outside hitter, right side hitter from Carmel, Jessica Fresh. Number 9 is a sophomore middle blocker outside hitter from Geneva, Kennedy Landris. Number 10, a junior libero defensive specialist from Geneva, Morgan Stoltz. Number 15 is a junior center right side hitter from West Geauga, Brooke Heinrichsen. Number 16 is a junior outside hitter, right side hitter from Independence, Grace Smotek. And finally for the Marine Corps All-Stars, number 19 is a sophomore middle hitter, right side hitter from Kirtland, Stella DeJohn. And we have one more player on the Marine All-Stars, number 8, Megan Youngcar, who's a DS, from Riverside. The Marine All-Stars are coached by Perry's Mike Fitzgerald and assisted by Rachel Schultz. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in order to honor America and all the brave men and women who have served our country and are currently serving our country to defend our freedoms, please rise for the playing of our national anthem. I'd also like to go off script for just a second because we're coming up tomorrow on Veterans Day. If you are a veteran and have served in any branch of the service, would you please rise at this moment? We'd like to thank you all for your service. Today's Ohio Varsity Senior Slam and Underclassmen Showcase is presented by Varsity Promotions and OhioVarsity.com brand. The players in the game were nominated by area coaches and selected based on their success on and off the court. We ask all fans respect the effort each of them has put forth in preparing for today's contest. We ask all attending to show courtesy and respect for fellow fans, officials, coaches, those administrating the contest, and of course, your team and opponent. And as important today as ever, please respect the game. Today's OHSAA officials are John Tusky and Rick Nemeth. Our line judges John Cole and Mark Mangione. Ladies, play with pride. The court is now yours.
So here we are, ready to begin the first game out of 2 today at the Jane and Lee Seidman Gymnasium. This one between the Air Force All-Stars, they're on your left, and the Marine All-Stars on your right. We've already introduced the teams, the coaches, and the officials, and now we're ready to get underway between these two teams. Both teams sporting 12 total players, although the Marine All-Stars with one scratch, Natalie Glow from Kirtland, is not there. But the Marine All-Stars with 3 players who played yesterday, far deeper than any team had played in this area in the state tournament. Independence sends Hannah Wilson, Abby Avila, and Grace Smotek. Abby was recognized before the game. If you were here for the announcements of all the players, she had a D3 state record with 59 assists in yesterday's 5-set loss. Again, that was in the state final game, but when you have 3 key underclassmen on your team, you're bound to go back at least one more time. A couple of subs now coming in before we even get started for this Air Force team closest to us. It's on the right side. Again, Air Force on the left side. One more last-minute sub. Proch going out, Yanchar coming in. So on the near side, it's Yanchar and Wilson now. We also have DeJohn in the front, Stoltz in the back. That's nearest to us. Air Force will begin with the serve. It's up and across. Bumped up, pushed over, blocked immediately by Air Force. Again, over from Stoltz. Pushes it over, finds some ground. Good bump to get it up. And right back over on the other edge. They're going to give that point to Air Force, though. So 1-0. Air Force getting that first point. Service error, not able to get that over. That was Hallie Doman with the serve. 1-1 match now. Stoltz out of Geneva. Sends it over. Dig from the Perry product. Pushes across, but there's the block on the right side, and that's what Mike Fitzgerald said he was going to have to do. It was a combination of DeJohn and Smotek, it looked like. Although Avila from Independence might have been there too, so Air Force back with the ball, sends it across. There's 2 hits. Here's the third. Has to go over. It does. Goes across the way. Dug out. Bumped back and spiked over. Third hit in the back row's got to go over, and Smotek sends it. Set coming from Doman. Across it goes. Dug out and over. Long hit. A dive. What a dive to keep it alive. Third one sent back over. Doman puts it up. There's the spike. Goes off a hand, and that point's going to end up going to DeBeese. 3-1. Air Force now with the lead over the Marines in this first set. Remember, this is a best of 5, so the absolute minimum points you'll need are 75 to win a game. A big dig to keep that one alive. Doman sets to Beast, pushes it over. Long spike, again dug out. Set right back to the same girl. DeBeast able to push it up. 2 hits, this one has to go over. And there it is. Doman over the other side, blocked, kept alive by the Marine All-Stars. Another hot shot, and that one falls in the middle of nowhere. Now it's 4-1, Air Force with the lead. Punched over. Left side sends it, it's dug out. Front line coming over to Beast with a spike over. Dug out yet again. This one going across the other side to Proch. That one hits the net though. 5-1 Air Force with an early lead. Another serve going to Tusick. Tusick attended Berkshire this last year. Puts it over. A quick play dug out. 2 more hits, but that's not going to go anywhere. Smart play, changing direction, set up as though she was going to set it in the air, but instead sent it over, went short route, found the hole, and that gets the Marines their 2nd point of this ballgame. So now they'll have a chance to serve for the 2nd time. DeBeast digs it out, now goes back row, pushes it back over. Spike from the opposite side, got a chunk of it, but not enough from Landris. Comes over left side. Bad hip approach, kept it in front of her to play it alive. Diving bump, able to keep it alive yet again. That one coming from Doman. Blocked from DeBeast, she gets a point. Remember in the pregame interview, Mike Fitzgerald talked about how DeBeast was chirping him a little bit. So he said he was going to try and block her all game. It did not work out there. 6-2 the lead for the Air Force in set number 1. Back row, dug out. Avila sends it across. They're going to give the point to the Marines there. That one went out of play. So now it's 6-3. That lead just to 3 points now. Hit goes over to the center in the back. Long spike, outside hitter, can't get it over though. It's blocked and goes out of bounds, so it's Air Force ball. 7-3, Kosas checks in, Rogers goes out. It's going to be Maria Alfieri from Kirtland. Here's the serve, a hot shot right to the center. Set up, outside hitter, sends it across, dugout. Goes over, DeBeast tries to get it over and does. Right off the hands of Proch, she wasn't able to square it up though, and Mike Fitzgerald calls timeout. An early 5-point lead for the Air Force. 8-3 the score right now. Remember, this event, like many other Ohio Varsity Senior Slams, helps benefit the Wounded Warrior Project. And this year, we'd like to thank some of our sponsors, Varsity Promotions, the title sponsor, and Lake Health Sports Medicine, the athletic trainers. Obviously, this event, a big event not just to show off what's been going on in Northeast Ohio athletics and help give these seniors and underclassmen a chance to showcase their talents one last time before they head into club volleyball play, but also something to benefit a great cause just a couple of hours before Veterans Day tomorrow. The buzzer sounds, both teams disperse. Marines are already set. Air Force coming on out now. Air Force will serve. They already have an 8-3 lead. They've scored each of the last 2 points. The Marines made it 6-3. And since then, Air Force has taken control. Alfieri sends it over. That one bumped low of the net. No chance to get that one over. And now it's 9-3, 3 consecutive points for the Air Force All-Stars. Alfieri yet again, same spot, similar result. This one gets dug out, though, and sent over. Long toss over, set comes down, and a spike ends up hitting the edge. But they're saying it was tipped to go out of bounds, so it will be an Air Force point, 10-3. So Alfieri working for a 4th straight point. Sends a hot shot to the back row. It's tipped over by Landris, who then blocks the next one right over the head of both DeBees and Kosas. And the Marines get back on the board, 10-4. Yanchar coming back, puts the ball over. That's dug out by Kosis. And now she'll spike it back over. Tipped up, put back over. And there it goes to the back row. Golem dives, sends it over Alfieri off the back wall. That's the second consecutive point for the Marines, who are charging back. They're down 5-10. They trailed by as many as 7 early on in set number 1. Yanchar pushes it over. Kosis stops it. It's set up to DeBees. Her spike blocked. Kosis sends it back in the air. And now it's sent over by Golem. Yanchar digs it out, puts it back over, and then Landris gives it to Air Force. Kosis sets DeBees, punches it back, and now Air Force controls. Diving play from Golem. DeBees back on over. Controlled by the Marines. It's tipped, so they'll have another 3 chances to get it over. This one to the back row. Spike blocked, but Air Force ends up getting the point. It was blocked and then controlled on the Marine side. No one able to corral it. 11-5. Air Force leads in set number 1. It's now DeBees' serve. Punches it 3 times in the ground, sends it over, and finds a hole. An ace right in front of Yanchar. Three more times against the ground and now over. Yanchar digs this time. Sends it back over. That one from Stoltz. That's pushed up. Outside hitter. A gentle floater over. Chance to poke it over yet again. DeBees digs it out. Now it's set up. Kosis on the near side has her hit blocked. It was from a combination of Lambris and Smotek. And now the Marines will serve. Still just half the score of Air Force. It's 12-6. A lot of these players with great accolades throughout the course of this season. Despite all being underclassmen, DeBees digs this one out. Goes over to the near side. Puts it back up. Got to go over on this hit. And it's smacked over by Smotek. Off Air Force hands and out of play. The Marines, for example, have 8 all-CVC players. Yanchar and Landris, the lone 2 who did not earn that honor. But again, a lot of younger players, still talented. Pokes it over, sends it to the back row. Stoltz digs it out. And this time goes over right behind DeBees. That's a point for the Marines. Back-to-back points for the first time since early on in this one for the Marine All-Stars. And when you look at the Air Force All-Stars, also with 2 players who didn't earn all conference awards, but WRC also referenced here. Diving play. This one back over, punched back, but Stoltz not able to keep the ball in play. It's 13-8 Air Force. Some WRC candidates, Abby Carter, Megan Kosis. And then the rest CVC, that's DeBees, Chapman, Golem, Alfieri, Doman, and then Tosic. That ball sent back, pushed up. Yanchar across the way, but over the head of DeBees and out of play. Air Force now with back-to-back points. They're back to a 6-point lead. Here's the serve. Yanchar sends it over. The set. A little touch play on top. Dug out. Spike coming on the near side, tipped and goes out of play. That one belongs to Air Force, and Molly Chapman from Berkshire gets another serve. Air Force just 10 points away from locking up set number 1. They have a 7-point lead already. They've been doubling the Marine output for pretty much the entire set. Dugout pushes it the opposite way. Smotek pushes it over, back row, dugout. Pushes through, here's the set on the way over. Great dig, and right back over to Stoltz, who puts it across the way in front of a diving Chapman. 15-9, hard point earned by Stoltz there for the Marines. Both coaches in the pregame show talking about how This is a game that allows a lot more fun for these players. Here's the serve, a rocket to the back row. DeBeese punches it up, pushed across by Kosis. Yanchar over the top. Outside hit, blocked. Not enough lift there to get it over the net, and now it's 15-10. Both of them said it's all about the fun here for these two teams, taking a little bit of pressure off. Significantly different than last night's game for Independence. I know we've mentioned it a couple of times already, but a 5-set loss in the state final. That's another point award to the Marines. 15-11. Air Force have the lead, but it's cut to 4 after it was by as many as 7. 3 consecutive points for the Marines. Another hard serve. That's going to find the back wall, make it 4 consecutive. The most points in a row for the Marines so far. Abby Avila from Independence with the serve. Last night, 59 assists, a Division III state record. That one dug out by DeBeese. Right back over to her, she sends it back. Stoltz sets it up in the air, brings over to Smotek, but she can't keep it in bounds, and that's going to be an Air Force point to make it back to a 4-point lead, 16-12. Whistle blows, we'll see a couple of subs come in. Here's Haley Doman with the serve again. Doman to the back row. Ball lofted up, spiked across, a diving play from Golem. Finds it to her outside hitter. Hesitation, Smotek finds the other edge. And it's lofted over and blocked. Stella DeJohn getting her name on the score sheet. The Kirtland School product able to get that over. Now it's 16-13. Smotek with the chance to serve and draw this game within 2. Pushes it over, dug out by DeBeese. Doman puts it up, long spike, far over the back end, and the Marines get back to back. We've got ourselves a volleyball game. Stoltz pushes it over, dug out by DeBeese. A set to the outside, a slow pitch over. Another outside hitter, this time from Proch. Long ball almost finds the basketball hoop up top, but stays in play, and again, the hit goes over the edge. Back to 1-point differential. Air Force at 16. Marines now at 15. At one point, they were trailing by as many as 7 in this set. Between sets, we'll have a 3-minute break for these guys. They'll switch sides, but remember, this is a best of 5. Outside hitter spikes over. Good dig right there from Henriksen. That ball pushed over, and it finds a hole. It's a tie game, 16-16. That's what happens when you have these runs. I talked about it with Mike Fitzgerald in the pregame show, and you heard what he said. Just one different play, one small call, can end up making such a huge run in this fast-paced sport. Back row, DeBeese sends it over. They're going to call that one out. Another serve. For the first time in this game, the Marines have the lead. Smotek still here. Marines with all the momentum right now. Couple of good servers on this team. DeBeese to Doman across the way. That ball right in front of Smotek, who crumbled to the ground, wasn't able to get the footing she needed to dig in right there. And now Air Force ties the game back up. Tusek from Berkshire is going to end up serving now. Sends over the net to the back row, lofted up, outside hit, comes on over, just past the line. Point belongs to Air Force. That was a close one, and Ava Golem, a pretty good eye for the court. We've seen her diving all over the court early on in this one. She lets that one go. And now her team with a 1-point lead late in this one. Ball gets sent over, dug out, pushes up. Gentle pitch over, and now it goes to the back row. DeBeese tries to get it over, but it's blocked. Dug back out, sent in. Marines with it. Here's the hit. Blocked but it falls on the side of Air Force. It's back tied up 18-18. DeBeese's side facing a lot of double teams for the block, and that's what Mike Fitzgerald, the Perry head coach, said he was going to do to his own player on the other side. Try to negate the hard-hitting DeBeese. Ball's pushed just out of bounds. So that goes to Air Force. They're back in control. The Marines have just led for two serves in this one. Serve goes over to the outside hitter. That finds the hole. Marines tied back up, a chance to lead for their third serve. We're at 38 points now. That serve just inside the back line, 20-19. That was something that Bill Barron did said. Don't let the officials dictate a game on a close call. You got to go out there and try and grab that. Air Force lose control of that one, and there was no way that Rogers was going to be able to dig that one out and over the net. Rogers, a Menor product. You don't see a lot of those in this underclass group. Only one player, and it's Ella. Serve from the Marines, pushes it up. Outside hitter lofts over, falls right in front of the back row. Now it's 20-21 Air Force. Of course, Perry's fortunes really changed this last year. Mike Fitzgerald in his first year coaching the Pirates, and they got the CBC title for the first time since 2004. He earned co-CBC Coach of the Year honors. That served right into the net. Marines now with a 2-point lead. So you guys, one underclassman to bees, and in this next game, you'll see Candace Woodward and you'll see Amanda Schultz, both big parts of that program. Woodward with 1,000 career digs. To Bees, you can see, has a lot of power from that back row. Sent it to Stoltz, who dug it out, but was not able to corral that in fair territory. Instead, that one goes over to the stands. 21-22, another serve for DeBeese. Sends it across, dug out by Yanchar. Lofted up, across it goes from Landris. Corralled by Air Force, put over. Yanchar now with the chance to set things up for the hitters. It goes all the way to the outside, blocked by Kosis. Put back up, across the way, up to the back row. And now it's sent across by Stoltz again. Another block from DeBeese and Kosis. That's sent back out, dug out. This one goes over by Landris and finds its way for the score. Just 2 points for the Marines to pull off a big come-from-behind set one victory. Across the way it goes. Diving play. Outside hitter sends in. Yanchar and Stoltz both go down for it. It's corralled, but that was the third hit. No chance that's going over, and the Air Force brings it back to a one-point game. Remember, you got to win by 2. So if the Marines score one more, the Air Force would have to get at least 26 to win set number 1. The serve, nothing doing for Yanchar. She tried to get underneath it, but it was flat off the exit. 23-23. Both teams in the same scenario where if they score one more, at least the other team needs to score 26 to win this one. It's dug out by Yanchar, goes across the way. Advantage goes to Air Force. It's set point right now. Everyone's going to bear down on this one. Chapman puts it over. Ball corralled over to the back row. Marines back over. Smotek gets it, but it's out of play. Set 1 belongs to the Air Force, 25-23. A very close game, and at one point it looked like Air Force was going to run away with it. Air Force had a 7-point lead. It was 15-8, and after that, it was all Marines for a little bit. Back and forth we went, and set 1 was decided. We'll have a 3-minute break, and after that break, these teams are going to go back at it for set number 2. Remember, this is a best-of-5 match. A lot of talent here between these two squads. Once again, look at some of the accolades that these two have won, beginning with Air Force, who won set 1. Doman, Alfieri, Carter, Matusik, Kosis, DeBeese, Chapman, and Golem, all with all-conference honors. And a lot of these girls playing multiple sports. Doman plays basketball, softball, and track as well, so 2 spring sports for Doman. Carter also plays basketball, Alfieri, track, Tusik, basketball. In addition to that, you've got basketball and softball for Chapman, softball for Tolley, and then swimming and track for Golem. Right now, we're going to actually have a special interview with Abby Avila, a setter for Independence. So, Abby played in game 1. So Abby played in game 1, and yesterday you played in 5 sets and set a record, 59 assists. That's a D3 state record. Now, what all goes into what you're trying to do when you're seeing the field to get all these assists?
I think what really helped me was my passers was really good, and serve receive was on a lot, and our hitters really put the ball down, and they told me like what the sets were good or bad.
Now, not only did you have the good sets, like you said, you get all those assists, but you played a 5-set game in states. I mean, that's got to mean a lot to your team. And now the next day you're going out with another one of your teammates, and you're playing in a charity tournament event. How fun is that?
Yes, it's really fun. Like every year we get a step closer, and we really worked our butts off this year. And I think we did a really good job. Everyone's proud of us.
So what's the locker room feel like, and how does it change from regular season play to postseason play?
Regular season, we're still pretty hyped, but at the end of the postseason, we get really hyped, and we really want states as our goal and to win. So that's how we prepare for it.
We've talked about with a couple of people on the show already today, but it's a really good area to play volleyball in Northeast Ohio. You see a ton of teams every single year make it down to states. I mean, this year, you and Padua played back-to-back games in the state championship game. It's not often that you can say, how far is Independence away from Padua? About 10 minutes away, and you guys are both playing in the state championship game. How cool is it to see some of the people that you play with on club, etc.?
It's very cool. Like, we have lots of friends on Padua and like Gilmore and stuff like that, and it's cool to like cheer them on and root them on and see how good they're doing.
Well, Alex, thanks for the interview. Congratulations on the record, and good luck in the next couple of sets.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Alex Avila from Independence. Alex with a D3 state record, 59 assists in yesterday's game. Again, you think about setting records, it doesn't matter, Division I, Division II, Division III. You've got 100 years of volleyball has been kept track of in this state, and someone's doing something special right there. We're getting ready for set number 2 right now. For those of you just tuning in, it's Air Force on the right. They took set number 1, 25-23. On the left, it's the Marine All-Stars. The Marines were trailing by as many as 7 early on. But right now, they gained some momentum in the latter part of that set, started playing together and figuring out what they needed to do to negate some of the size on this Air Force side. Marines will serve first, dug out of the back row. Outside set over to Kosis, spikes it, it's blocked up. Kicked up this time from Avila. Pushes back again, this time outside hitter, smacks it over, and Ella Rogers just a little too strong. The Marines get the first point. Avila sends it over. Poked up, Kosis across the way, dug out of the back row. Pushes it over again, dug out by DeBeese. Pushed up. Other side, Kosis traveling side to side. Punched over. Set. Here comes the hit. Kosis again, this time blocked, corralled up, sent back over. A lot of back and forth hitting. This one back row, DeBeese has to put it over. Gets it to the other back row. That one punched up by Alfieri. Blocked from a combination of Kosis and Rogers. Marines get the second point, though. Block doesn't matter. Marines with a 2-0 lead here early on in the second game. Air Force was the one who jumped out early in the last one. Back row punch down. Kosis pushes it across, but right into the net. Air Force down 3-0 right now. Marines jumping out of the gate like a strong horse. Another strong serve to the back row. Punched over, blocked, kept alive. Alfieri pushes it over the other side. Another block. This one goes across to the back row above the heads of the two blockers. Quick punch from Rogers. Dug out. This one lofted over the top. A diving play, but no dice for Haley Doman. So Alfieri with another chance. She has 4 consecutive points for the Marines. A chance to get a 5-0 lead here. To the back row, and it goes out. Air Force able to stop the bleeding early. Now it's 1-4. And Ella Rogers from Menor with a chance to serve. Overhand across the way. That one punched low, dug out by Alfieri, pushed across. Ball put up, outside hitter Kosis to the back row. That one tipped up into the air by Air Force, pushed over. Slow lofter from Carter, able to get it over. A little struggle at the net, but corralled by the Marines. This time, it's Proch from Cardinal, not able to get the ball over. And Air Force cuts the Marine lead in half. It's 4-2. Ella Rogers to the back row. Looked as though Proch struggled with it a little bit before sending it over, and now Air Force with another point. 3 consecutive after being down 4-0. Slow one from Rogers, can't get it over the net, and now it's 5-3, Marines with the lead. Marines did not have a point in the first 30 points of that game, or that set rather, where they led. But now, already, they've led for the first 8 in this one. DeBeese over the net. It's punched. Stoltz ended up putting it into, it looked like Smotek, and neither of them were able to get it over the net. So now it's 4-5. Air Force within 1. You'll see a lot of running in this sport. Ball pushed over, way over the back row as well. So now the Marines lead 6-4. Volleyball, like basketball, you'll see 8-point runs, 10-point runs in basketball consistently. Well, it's not rare to have a 5 or a 6-point run when a setter gets hot. That one pushed over, dug out by DeBeese. Ball put into the air. This time it's Chapman who can't corral it. A little too strong, and now it's 7-4. The Marines with the lead in set number 2. That ball bounced off the net, barely gets over. Chapman sends it to the back row. DeBeese finds it to get it over. Now it's set. Avila pushes it over, and that one lands, what they're saying, tipped out of bounds and belongs to the Marines. The Marines now doubling up Air Force, 8-4. DeBeese digs. Ball up, here's the spike, way over. She's got a cannon, and that's not just a joke because she's a Perry Pirate. Mike Fitzgerald will tell you she's one of the stronger hitters in the back row that you'll see in all of the CVC. 9-4, Marines lead. This one going opposite side. Kosis able to loft it over to the back row. And now it's 3 hits. That 4th hit was the one that sent it over. Air Force gets another point. That makes it 9-5. Air Force cutting it to a 4-point lead. Now we'll see a couple of players subbing in and out. That front row, Tully, DeBeese, and Chapman for the Air Force. Diving play, they send it back and somehow get it over. That ball looked like it wasn't going to get corralled. Chapman with a strong spike dug out by Alfieri. Outside hitter, punches it over, a diving play, and now following up, Rogers tries to get it there but cannot. A lot of effort there, but only 1 point can be awarded. This one going to the Marines, who now double up the Air Force 10-5. Similar story to the first set. That's what the Air Force was doing, doubling up until about 15 points to the Air Force. That ball just gets over the net, pushes back. This time, it's Rogers who sends it over. And now, right in front of Rogers, the spike gets through. 11-5, Marines with the lead. A lot of the size of the Air Force right now on the bench, that's where they were truthfully the strongest. A lot of blocks in that first game. But it's a cycle. You see him sub in and out. Chapman just over the top, dug out by Alfieri to the back row, and now it's sent back again. This one's put up to Beast with a strong spike right over to the right of Stoltz. That's a point for the Air Force, a much needed point as they're down 5, and now DeBeese exits the game. 6-11. We'll see if the Air Force can get another roll to make this close again. Outside hitter, lofts it over, dug out. It's Golem who pushes it back, and immediately followed by Rogers, setting it into the net. They're doubled up yet again by the Marines, 12-6. Here's the serve, back row, pushed up, trying to control, but just not a good second hit coming from Maria Alfieri. Dugout, back row. Finds its way over. Here's the set. Back up. Pushed over. And eventually sent over by Chapman. The set went from Henriksen. Comes back over. Outside hitter. This time it's Rogers. Blocked and put out of bounds. 13-7. The Marines have the lead. It's Golem who's going to be sitting down now. Serve from Air Force. A ball dug out. 2-6 sent that into the air. No one was able to reel it in. So Chapman gets one serve, and now she'll head over to the bench. 14-7. Marines with the lead and with the serve. Goes over and bumped the wrong direction. 15-7. It's Morgan Stoltz. Geneva product over here with another serve. Bounces the ball, sends it over, dug out of that back row. Pushed up from the opposite side. That was Rogers to send it over. Ball blocked by Air Force, pushed over, again set for Rogers. Pushes it over, a flailing attempt, but it looks as though the Marines got a little lucky. No contact, but it goes out the back end. I know they're going to end up awarding it, saying it was tipped. The backline judge working with it there. Kosis going in for Alfieri. Also Tully sitting down. Serve coming from Doman out the back end. Air Force getting another opportunity. It's 9-15. Air Force serving. This is match 2 in a best-of-5 set. Air Force won set number 1, 25-23. Second serve from Doman to the back row. Popped up to the outside hitter, smacks it over, but you're going to say that that point belongs to the Marines. 16-9. The Marines with the lead, 9 points away from winning a decisive set number 2. That ball pushed way out the back. Air Force will get the ball back immediately. 16-10. Still a 6-point differential. Rogers going to be serving this one. DeBeese coming in. Tusek going out. Rogers pushes it over. That one popped up by Avila. Gets it across the way. Doman sets it for a player, and that ball inbounds. Air Force gets back-to-back points, cuts it to a 5-point lead. Another serve from Rogers. Pushed up by Avila, blocked. Avila with another set. Bump to the outside. Another block from Air Force, but not able to keep it inbounds. That was a combination of Kosis and Carter on the block there. 17-11, the Marines with the lead. That's Yanchar from Riverside who's going to be serving now. Punches it to the center. Lofted up, outside here to Beast, spikes. It's dug out and pushed back over. Another set up high. Carter keeps it alive there. DeBeast punches it over. Avila digs it out. It's got to go over on this one. It does. DeBeast right back over. Spiked, kept alive. Back-to-back digs. This one, Yanchar finds a way to get it there. Punched over. Here's the dig. High lofting ball set. Outside hitter blocked by Kosis and Carter. And that's a point for Air Force. 12-17, back to 5, and back with the serve. Carter hands the ball off. She didn't want the serve there. Golem over the net. Avila, remember, 59 assists in yesterday's state championship game. She gets one right there. Golem dove for it, but was not able to find the corner there. 18-12, Marines with the lead. DeBeast with the dig. That ball popped up, but out of play. Doman tried to go one-handed to get it over quickly. She's had a couple deceptive plays that have worked earlier, but this one not able to find in bounds. That's dug out. Doman with the set. Kosis on the outside, blocked and turned back. 20-12, the Marines getting another point. We'll roll that under for the other side. Push goes over, there's a dive. Near side to Beast. To the back row, Yanchar digs out. Spikes across, and that's popped up. DeBeast again, strong spike, tipped and put over the head and out of play for those Marines. Now it's 13-20, and despite the fact that the Marines just need 5, leading by 7 to win the second set. Remember, volleyball, a very runny sport, and we saw the same thing happen the other way to make it a close first set. Avila pushes it up, outside hitter, spikes it in, and that's going to be a point again for the Marines, 21-13. Avila, a big part of that state championship caliber team. I should say state runner-up team after yesterday. That goes over, dug out. DeBeast from the outside pops it to the back row. That one lofted back over. A lot of time there for Tusek, but Tusek gets it. Avila, long hit. That one finds the net, somehow dug out by Tusek, but all it did was find more of the net. So now it's 22-13. Marines in front. Henriksen getting the serve. Punches it to the back row. There's the dig. It's popped up. That, a combination of a block to Beast, sends it back over, though. Strong hit to corral it. That goes right past the flailing Tusek. 23-13. Just 2 more points for the Marines, running away with this one. They'll roll that right under. Again, big game today. Both of them benefiting the Wounded Warrior Project. Back row, popped up. Small hit going over from Chapman. Second time she tries to power it over, but it goes right into the net. Now it's 24-13. The Air Force would have to score 13 unanswered to win this one. Here it goes, dug out in the back row, popped over, DeBeast sends it, but it's turned right back. Bumps it back over, controlled, Yanchar tries to get over, that's not gonna go far enough. A little assist helps it out there. That's short, and the Marines end up winning it. 25-13 for set number 2. So 1-1 after 2 sets. Let's read off the statement from Wounded Warrior Project, who of course this tournament benefits. Melissa MacArthur, the manager of events for the Wounded Warrior Project, said, "It's with extreme pleasure that Wounded Warrior Project announces its support for the 2019 Ohio Varsity Senior Slam and Underclassmen Showcase, an event to benefit wounded service members through the Wounded Warrior Project. The Wounded Warrior Project is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Tens of thousands of wounded warriors receive support each year through Wounded Warrior Project programs and services designed to nurture the mind and body and encourage economic empowerment and engagement. Whether through caregiver retreats, combat stress recovery programs, career and education services, or adaptive supporting opportunities, Wounded Warrior Project empowers warriors with the tools essential to not just survive their injuries, but to thrive and achieve personal and professional services. This organized event is committed to Wounded Warrior Project and wounded service members the Wounded Warrior Project proudly serves." So Coach Mike Fitzgerald right now winning the Ohio Varsity Coach of the Year award. Of course, he coached the Perry Pirates this last year. They went from a program that won 5 games in 2018 to a team that won 15 games and the CVC title in 2019. Certainly a great accolade for him in his first year away from Fairport Harding. And now he's one of the 4 coaches selected to coach these 4 all-star teams. Perry against Willoughby South, so to speak, in this one. With Perry being represented by Fitzgerald and Bill Barron representing Willoughby South. Barron coaching the Air Force All-Stars. Perry coaching the Marine All-Stars today. Again, 3-minute breaks between sets, still about 2 minutes remaining between sets 2 and 3. Set 1 belonged to the Air Force, 25-13. They led by as many as 7 in that one. But set number 2 belonged to the Marines, and the Marines' lead just kept increasing as the game went. Eventually, it went 25-13. That was the final there, but it was 5 for a while, it was 7 for a while, and it kept growing and growing until it reached that 12-point win. Since the second half of set number 1, the Marines have held the advantage. We'll see if Air Force comes back out. Now, each team on the left side of our broadcast has ended up winning the sets that they've had. We'll see if the Air Force can get that momentum coming back. Not necessarily like an outdoor sport where you would say it's the wind, but sometimes you just feel more comfortable on one side of a court. Again, we've got a great group of players in this game representing a variety of different schools. Let's just quickly read off the list of schools that are represented in this game. Cardinal, Eastlake North, Kirtland, Berkshire, Mayfield, Mentor, Perry, Fairport Harding, Independence, Riverside, Geneva, West Geauga. So quite a big list of schools. Remember, you've got just 12 players on each team. A little smaller than your average volleyball roster. 24 on the court, and we've got a list of nearly 10 schools that are represented in the CVC and the WRC. That's the Chagrin Valley Conference and the Western Reserve Conference. 2 very competitive conferences in volleyball, of course, different divisions. Independence lost in the state finals yesterday in 5 sets. That's as far as you can go without winning the state championship. That's like going to Game 7 of the World Series or the NBA Finals right there. Of course, both Cleveland teams have done that in the last couple of years and come up short. So Independence knows how that feels. But Independence also has quite a few young players. Wilson, Avila, and Smotek will all be back next year. And they'll have a chance to get back to states and maybe change their fortunes just a little bit. In addition to that, you have Kirtland, who had a great year again. Alfieri on the Air Force All-Stars with a chance to do that. Mayfield did something special this year. Of course, Mayfield's been building a program for 2 or 3 years. We've mentioned how Perry won the CVC this year, Fairport Harding. A good program as always. Air Force going to start off with the serve to the back row, pushes it up. This time it's Smotek who sends it over and right before the back line. It's 1-0, Marines with the lead. So Marines getting the first point in the second 2 sets so far. So sets 2 and 3. Back row dig popped up by Doman, blocked. And this point belongs to Air Force as it's blocked out of bounds. Appears to be Hannah Wilson from Independence who blocked that one. Another serve from Megan Kosas. That goes to the back end. That ball shot back and out of play. Or excuse me, they're saying that was inbounds. Off of a tip, it went out of play. So Kosas rolls the ball under, and she'll head out for a break after serving. Cedes way to Tusek. Immediately, ball finds Tusek, can't get it over to Doman, and adds back-to-back points for the Marines. It's now 3-1. Marines with the lead. Another hit to the back row. Dosick to DeBeese, powerful launch, but she can't rein it in to keep it in bounds. Marines up 4-1 now. Quickly jumping out yet again. Ball in the front row. Lofted up spike, dug out by Yanchar, but she wasn't able to reel it back in. Air Force gets the point. This time Golem goes out. Serve goes over, Yanchar with the dig, popped back up. Back end, Smotek gets blocked. Combination of DeBeese and Carter on the block. So Eastlake North and Perry being represented by that block right there. 5-2, Marines with the lead. Marines serve, dug out. Popped up from the outside, slight hit. Yanchar able to get it over. DeBeese pops up, second row. Here's the set, near side, ball blocked, dug out yet again by Yanchar. We're gonna get a second opportunity for Wilson to get it over, and she does, but this one not in play. They're giving that point to Air Force. 5-3 the score, Marines in front. Another close play on the line. Alfieri with a chance here. Sets over way out of bounds. So Air Force gets the advantage for a second, but gives it right back over to the Marines at 6-3. Yanchar sits back down. DeBeese digs out. That ball over the net. There's hit number 2. 3 belongs to Glow. Glow a bit late for this one. Wasn't here for the first set. Again, an all-star charity tournament. A lot of times players have other things going on. A couple of players actually are trying out for club teams after this game. That ball put far side. DeBeese digs it back out, brings it back to the near side. This one in the middle, punched up, but blocked immediately by Landris out of Geneva. Blocked and sent out of bounds. Air Force with it. It's 6-5. Marines with just a 1-point lead. And now DeBeese, who has quite an arm, serving. Punches it over, puts it to the back row, and it gets right out of the way of Glow. Tried to track it down, but wasn't able to get it over the shoulder. It's all tied up, 6-6. DeBeese with another chance. Perry Pirates serving against her coach and puts it out of the back end. Now it's 7-6, the Marines with the lead. Both teams have claimed one set thus far. We play up to 25 in the first 4. That fifth set, always a 15-point set. 7-6, Marines with the serve, gets to the back row, popped up. This one's got to go over. It does. DeBeast dives, but not able to put it in fair territory. It's 8-6, Marines with a 2-point lead. Smotek sends it across. That to the back row, not able to corral it in. Excuse me, that was Stoltz, not Smoltek, with the serve. Still a 1-point game. Air Force with 7, the Marines with 8. Golem now with the serve. Her team down by 1. Pushes it across. That one bumped. Outside hit. Dug out of the ground. Great play from Golem. Now this one goes across to the back row. Diving play to get it up. Smacked back over. Pushed up from Carter. Now comes Alfieri, who puts it over the line and tries to block that one. Kosis right there. A good play keeping that from going over and giving her team the point to tie things up. Another serve from Air Force, a chance to get the advantage for the first time in this game, and there it is. Just not able to corral it in. DeJohn with a hit right off the fingertips, but not enough power to get it over the net. Air Force with a 9-8 lead. They controlled it for much of the first set, but haven't had an advantage since then. Outside, Glow pushes it far out of the back end, and now the Air Force are leading by 2. It's 10-8 here in set 3. There's a big difference if you talk to these girls about being up 2-1 and being down 2-1. It's immediately putting your back up against the wall in this decisive set. Ball's dug up, back half. Pushed across to Kosis. She's blocked and turned back. 9-8 Marines within 1 point again. Of course, after this game, we'll see the senior showcase. It's Army and Navy in the senior showcase. Ball goes over, dug out by Carter, far side. And that ball punched right out of the back. We're all tied up. It's 10-10. First tie in this one since it was 6-6 for set number 3. Another close one. That last one got out of hand 25-13 when the Marines won. There's an ace right there. It belongs to Abby Avila to make it 11-10. Ball pushed to the back. Popped up, Kosis underneath it, sends it over to center field. 1 hit, 2 hits, third one's got to go over from Stoltz, and it just finds its way. Back to Kosis, who spikes it across. It's popped up by Wilson. Kept alive, Wilson's got to send it over, she does. Air Force have controlled off of 2 straight hits. That one blocked, eventually Kosis corrals it, and Air Force will get the point. That's why it's huge to get the advantage off of a couple of strong hits to that back row. The entire time the Marines were reeling. And Air Force able to tie it back up, 11-11. Now they've got the advantage with the serve. Here it goes to the back row. Popped up outside. Hit from Smotek was blocked. Molly Chapman with the block, but it goes out. Marines lead 12-11. Hit to the back row. It's Doman underneath, outside. There's the spike. Marines with it now. Again blocked, so Marines have to come back and set something else up. Wilson punches it, but it gets blocked right into the center of the court for Air Force. Marines up by a pair. It's 13-11. This set's been tied at 6-6 and 10-10. So a 2-point differential. A big one here in set number 3. Back row block not able to corral, but this time Tusek pushes it over to the outside hitter. Eventually, Marines find a way to dig that one out of the ground. Ball's put up, blocked immediately, diving to the ground, not able to make the play for Air Force. Marines with 3 consecutive points. It's now 14-11. Hit to the back row, dugout. Doman pushes it up. Not strong enough, so they had to bump it over. And here's a spike that's blocked. Wilson pushes it over. A tip there. Doman sang it to her outside hitter who can't get it over the net. There's another point for the Marines. 4 consecutive, and it's another one of those runs that we were talking about in the first and second sets. 15-11, the Marines have the lead. And immediately they send it on the serve way out of the back. That one went inside the restricted zone for basketball. Kosas with the serve, her team trailing by 3. Yanchar backs it up, puts it over. It's blocked by Rogers. They're going to say point belongs to Air Force on that one. Kosas will get another serve. Her team trailing by a pair. Will be big for the Air Force to get a couple of points strung together here. Kosas to the back row. That ball poked up by Smoke Tech and corralled in by Avila. It's back over. Doman over to DeBeese. DeBeese blocked, put up in the back row. Marines bring it back over to Wilson. Here it comes. Doman pops it up. 2 players underneath it. Get to DeBeese, who spikes it. Yanchar gets it to the net and bounces off. There's another point for Air Force. 14-15. 3 consecutive with Kosas serving, and she'll take it again in the near corner on the left-hand side. Spins the ball, puts it up over the net, back row. There's the set for Wilson, who finds it there right behind Kosas. Kosas dove for it late, but there was a big hole in front of her. Wasn't able to stop it up. 16-14, Marines have the lead. Set number 3, again, decisive set, big dig. Doman able to keep it alive. Back foot, pushed it over. Yanchar pushes it back. Now this one, another diving controlled ball. Somehow Rogers gets it over and puts it in a good enough spot where Air Force gets the point. They make it back to a 1-point set. Rogers now coming in to serve. 16-15. Back half, puts it up, blocked, and it's from a combination of players. Looked as though it was DeBeese and Chapman on the block there. Rogers in the back half. Timeout called by Mike Fitzgerald, coach of Perry, but also the coach of Marines. That's the first timeout of this set for the Marines. It's 16-16. And during this timeout, let's quickly read the statement from the Wounded Warrior Project. It's Melissa MacArthur, the manager of events for Wounded Warrior, who says, "It's with extreme pleasure that the Wounded Warrior Project announced its support for the 2019 Ohio Varsity Senior Slam and Underclassmen Showcase, an event to benefit wounded service members through the Wounded Warrior Project. Wounded Warrior Project is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Tens of thousands of wounded warriors receive support each year through Wounded Warrior Project programs and services designed to nurture the mind and body and encourage economic empowerment and engagement. Whether through caregiver retreats, combat stress recovery programs, career and education services, or adaptive sporting opportunities, the Wounded Warrior Project empowers warriors with the tools essential to not just survive their injuries, but to thrive and achieve personal and professional success. This organized event is committed to the Wounded Warrior Project and wounded service members Wounded Warrior Project proudly serves. With help of individuals coming together in their communities, the Wounded Warrior Project can strive to fulfill their vision to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded warriors in our nation's history. This event has permission from Wounded Warrior Project to raise funds on their behalf. If you have any questions or need any further information, please contact Melissa at events@woundedwarriorproject.org. Marines send it back over. It's dug out from the back row of the Air Force. Yanchar puts it back up over to the outside hitter. This one gets over the first row, but dug out by Carter. Here it comes to the back row, and Chapman not able to corral it in. Marines score, and it's 17-16. Or excuse me, that belongs to the Air Force. So we've had 3 ties here after 6 points. 6-6, 10-10, and 16-16. This one going in for the Air Force. That ball pushed over, a diving play from Doman, able to get past there. Wilson punches it over. Doman sets. It's going to DeBeese, who spikes it into that back corner, but it appears to was just on the other side. So it's 17-17. Marines with the serve. They sub out 2 members quickly, and now ball's put over. Dug out by DeBeese. Doman over to the opposite side, near side. Chapman puts it back over. It's 18-17. So another close set, similar to the first one where it was 25-13. Although Air Force led by as many as 7 in that first set. Ball's put over. Yanchar puts it back to the outside. That ball punched up by Proch and then dug out. DeBeese way out the back end. That's something we'll try and see her corral in her next couple of seasons as she gets closer to a senior. She's got so much power when she's setting over her head. The question is, can she corral it and have a higher percentage of hitting it in bounds? If she can do that, there's a high chance of her making all CVC honors before her senior season. That ball's popped up. Now DeBeese has to find it, sets it on over. And that, a diving play, not successful. 19-18 there. Ball's pushed, but right into the net, it's 19-19. Ball's bounced a couple of times before it gets sent over. Dug out of the back row, pushed up by Alfieri, and now over. Wilson with the dive, but that one goes right into the net. Serve goes for Air Force. Ball pushed up. Near side, that's Glow. She's able to get it off the tip and block. That goes out of play. So again, we're tied up. It's 20-20. We'll see what team in these last 5 points can claim the advantage. Ball's placed over. Set high. And across the way, back row, popped up by Wilson. Glow sends it over. Weak hit from Alfieri, and the Marines with a 1-point advantage. Here's the serve from Avila to the back row, and in a perfect spot past Ava Golem out of Kirtland. It's 22-20. That ball hit to the back row, dug out by Tusick, and Kosis with the spike over to the back row. Here it's set. Glow pushes it, inbounds, point to the Marines. Marines with 3 consecutive points in a tough time with their back against the wall. Since Avila's been serving, this team's looked on fire. Here it goes across the way. Kosis with the dig. Popped on up, and no one able to get there. 2 players run into each other, and the Marines lead at 24-20. That's one of those things. These girls have only practiced once together. And this Marines team really didn't even practice as a whole squad. They were missing 4 people in that practice, including the 3 Independence girls. Kosis from the far side with the spike. Pushes it back over. Glow right into the net, but somehow corralled by the Marines. Pushes it over. It's blocked by Kosis. And that point belongs to the Air Force. 24-21. Air Force need to make a run here. They get the ball over to Haley Doman out of Cardinal High School. Doman puts it up across the way, dug out. Avila sets it high. That time it was Smotek. Over onto the other side, Tusak pops it up. Glow near side, pushes it back up. It's run for, but Tusak not able to control it, screams it right over the head of Megan Kosis. So 25-21, the Marines end up winning. And now they have that advantage, that important 2-1 advantage as we head into set number 4. Air Force have their backs against the wall. This could be the final set of this match. And it's been an entertaining match so far. Air Force wins 25-23 in set 1 after leading by as many as 7. In set 2, the Marines ran away with it 25-13. And in set 3, 6-6, 10-10, 16-16, and 20-20. Before the Marines took a 23-20 lead, they were eventually able to trade points and make it 25-21. Well, now we're heading over to set number 4. And right now, the Willoughby South coach, Bill Barron, going to have to talk to his girls and try and figure out a way to block this Marines team. This Marines team that has played very well in the latter 3 sets. And of course, a couple of sponsors that we would like to thank. First, Lake Health Sports Medicine. They have fast-track orthopedic and sports injury clinics. What it means is it's a walk-in clinic for any patient who has experienced an orthopedic injury within the previous 2 to 4 weeks. And although the injury clinic occurs on Monday and Wednesday mornings from 7:30 to 10:30 at Tyler Boulevard, there's an urgent care center that's available Tuesday and Thursday mornings at the same time at the Willowick campus. Any service provided beyond the athletic training evaluation may incur a cost, but usually can be billed to insurance. In addition to that, Varsity Promotions is a proud sponsor, and they're the marketing arm of OhioVarsity.com, specializing in providing your team or business with all the promotional and marketing products it needs to introduce your brand to your fans and customers, and to keep it there. From custom apparel and team uniforms to banners, booster club products, signs, drinkware, posters, and the latest tech products, Varsity Promotions is everything you need to create a unique and impactful marketing campaign. You can visit them at OhioVarsity.com. Set number 4 is going to see the Marines on the left. And on the right, you're going to see the Army All-Stars.
And if you're supporting the Air Force, let's hear it for them. All right, here we go.
The Marines start serving in set number 4. So just as they ended the last set, and Avila will begin with the ball. She pushes it over, back row, dugout. DeBeese pushes it up. Only has one option there, it's Rogers. Avila sets it, gets it to the outside. That ball blocked by Air Force, over and out of play. It's 1-0. Marines with the lead, now 24 points away from having themselves a match win. They lead 2-1 right now. And they've gotten the first point in each of the last 3 sets. DeBeese pushes it up. Goes to Rogers. That's blocked, but Rogers scoops quickly. Ball punched over. Avila digs out, gets it over, blocked, and Air Force gets the equalizer. It's 1-1. Tusick, deep serve. Ball popped up by Avila, finds the opposite end. Dug out from the Air Force, pushed over, and now Marines corral it. Smotek able to send it past the diving Golem, and now the Marines lead 2-1. We're in set 4 out of a possible 5-set game. A couple of these players played in a 5-set game last night. Hannah Wilson, Abby Avila, and Grace Smotek, all 3 from Independence, made it to the state finals. That ball bumped out of play by Ava Golem. And now the Marines lead 3-1. So the 3 Marine players played in 5 sets but lost, so they became state runner-ups. But all 3 will be returning to the Blue Devils roster next year. DeBeese digs that back up. It's set up to her, but she has to bump it over. That ball skied by Avila, and now it's pushed across out of play on a block from the Air Force. 4-1. Marines jump out quickly. Ball's bounced 6 times, pushed back over the net. Back row dig. Popped up. All time in the world for DeBeese. Spikes it directly in front of a player for the Marines. And that sends it back 4-2 in favor of the Marines still. A lot of power on this young Air Force roster. You've seen Kosis, you've seen DeBeese, and you've seen Rogers. All have strong arms over on that side. Avila pushes it to the outside, but some of the best passers on this Marines side. DeBeese again puts it skyward. Does it touch the line? Yes, it does. It's 4-3. Marines with the lead. Air Force clawing back. Taking some time to find the ball and send it back over. If you got some time, there's still another game after this game if you want to come out. This benefits a great cause in the Wounded Warrior Project. It's over at the Jane and Lee Seidman Gymnasium over at Ursuline College, Uplander Road. Ball pushed over, dug out by Yanchar. Avila pops it up, near side, spiked to the back row. That ball makes it over. A little toe touch from Molly Chapman to get it back over. Ball to the back row, punched up. Avila sets it again, and now it comes on in near side. DeBeese sends it over, and it's blocked right back into the shoulder of DeBeese. 5-3 Marines lead, and now the Marines serving. That ball set over, dug out, back row. Doman with it, sends it back, and out of play. Marines cheering, they've got the lead. It's now 6-3. They've been pacing by about 3 points since the start of this one. Back row dig goes nowhere. You can see a little bit of disappointment from Ava Goldman. It's out of Kirtland, but the Marines now with a 4-point lead. That serve again to the back row. Popped up by Doman, outside hitter blocked, pushed up way deep. This one's got to go over. There it goes a little bit to the first row. Outside hitter punches, blocked up in the air, stops the momentum of it. DeBeese with a huge hit, corralled over by Yanchar and sent to the back. That ball popped up. DeBeese again with another spike. This one right into the hands of a player. Yanchar's got to push it over. She does. Set up again. This time in the center to Chapman, who can't find the other end. Marines 8, Air Force 3. The Marines nursing a 2-1 set lead. It's best of 5, so with this advantage, a chance to go further, and there's the ace for the Marines. You can hear them starting to come out. They're up by 6 now, 9-3. Breakdown in communication between the front and back lines there. Golem sends it up. DeBeese on the near side pushes it to Yanchar, popped up. And that ball right into the net. So the Marines end their run at 9-3. At the time, it was a 5-point run. So they've had a 3-point run and a 5-point run in this one, and they lead by 5. It's 9-4. Air Force with a chance to cut into it here. That's Alfieri who served. Ball's popped up near side. Stopped, but landing right in front of Tusick. She was able to keep the momentum of the ball from going, but couldn't push it any further. It's 10-4, Marines with the lead, 15 points away from a match victory. Air Force would need to score 21 to keep going to the 5th set. Tusick sends it to DeBeese. DeBeese pops it up. There it is, near side. Proch able to put it over. Kosis, far side, puts it right in front of Proch. She wasn't able to answer. 5-10. Air Force, half the score of the Marines right now, but they've got their backs against the wall. We'll see if they can muster up one last run in this set. DeBeese over the net. That ball popped up by Hendrickson across the way, dug out from Air Force. Near side, Tusick pushes it up. Yanchar digs it out. That goes to the outside here, pushes it over, block from Chapman and Kosis. 6-10, Air Force makes it a 4-point game. DeBeese smacks into the ground 3 times, pushes it over. Back row dig. It's pumped up by Hendrickson across the way. Another dig, this time from Golan to Tusick, who sends that way out of play. 11-5, Marines with the lead. Marines serve, 5-point advantage. They need just 14 to win this match. Back row popped up. DeBeese and Tusick run into each other, so now Chapman has to send it over. Next one popped up, outside hitter, throws it back, but Kosis able to dig it out. Kosas again on another hit. This one goes back. This time Golem with it. Tusek pushes it over outside. And now the hit goes to the back row. That ball popped up. Tusek can't get there, though, a little bit short. 12-6, the Marines doubling up the Marines yet again. They've led by 6 once before. It was at 9-3. Now with a chance to have their largest lead of the set. Tusek digs it out. That's popped up. Tusek back over. A little change of pace right there. Diving play from the Marines, able to keep it alive. DeBeese with the dig. Pops it on over. Chapman, another change of pacer in front of a couple of diving players. Somehow the ball is kept alive, and DeBeese gets it back for the Air Force. Kosas on the other side, blocked and turned away. It's 13-6. The Marines cruising forward right now. Set number 4. 13-6, largest lead of the set for the Marines. Dug out of the back row. Kosas from the center, powerful hit. Another one coming. Stoltz has to get it over and pushes it to the back row. Ball's pushed over by the Air Force. Nifty little play from, I believe it was Chapman right there. Able to earn the point and able to make it a 6-point game. So 13-6, largest lead of the game for the Marines. But now 13-7 after that Air Force point. DeBeese digs it out, pushes it over opposite side. Kosas tries to fit it over. That one's blocked. 2 hits now. It's got to go over. DeBeese with the smack, and now it comes back over. Ball's up, pushed aside. DeBeese keeping it alive. Tusek with another hit off the net. So 2 consecutive hits off the net. That point belongs to the Marines. Henriksen over on the far side. Here's that. DeBeese over now from Alfieri. That ball popped up from Henriksen and pushed over. Another Marine point. They lead by 8. Again, their largest lead of the game. They're just scoring points in bunches right now. And that's the largest lead for either team across the first 4 sets. The Air Force had a 7-point lead in the first set. DeBeese digs, puts it over. Carter with a strong hit, but that hit out of play. Well, they're saying it's going to be a tip, and that tip will give Air Force the point. It's now 8-15, so 15-7, the largest lead for either squad today. Taking a brief intermission here, whistle blown, and now we're ready to go. That's Doman, dug out by Wilson. Ball across the way and way out of play from Proch. 9-15, Air Force back within 6. Couple of bounces, Doman sends it over. Slow lofter, right in between, and Tusek able to just powerfully assert dominance and spike that ball over the net. 10-15, Air Force making their move. Doman again, this time to the back row. Wilson able to control it, comes to the near side. That's blocked. Tusek, Carter on the block. Air Force getting another point. After the Marines led by as much as 15-7, the Air Force have cut the lead. It's 15-11. Doman with 4 consecutive points as the server. Outside hitter, spikes out of play. Another point to the Air Force, make it 5 straight. Now the lead, just 3 for the Marines. Doman using a lot of the floor. She's gone left to right and front to back very well on her serves. DeBeese takes it out. Carter lofts it over in between. Diving play to keep it alive, but there's the block from Carter. Another Air Force point. It's 15-13, and they're wandering their way right back into this set. The Marines stuck 10 points away from winning this match. Doman with a low liner. That one pushed over. Dive from Air Force, and that stops the momentum. 15-13. It was 6 consecutive points, and now it's 16-13 as the Marines have the lead just 9 points away. But the Air Force seem to have stolen some of that momentum. Now it's Avila. Remember, we talked about Avila, and we talked to Avila, who had 59 assists. So 17-13 the lead. The Marines with another serve from Avila. Those 59 assists, a D3 state record in last night's state championship game. Dug out of the back row. Ball goes over near side. Tusick keeps it alive. It's floated back over by Rogers. Now near side. Smotek gets her ball blocked. To the back row. Ball pushed up. Tusick one-on-one. Sends it in. What a hit from Tusick. 17-14. The Marines with the lead over Air Force. Now Tusick will be serving. There's the spike. Back row hits off a couple of players and ended up with Hannah Wilson on the last hit. But now it's just a 2-point game. 17 Marines, 15 Air Force. Tusick still serving. That one out of the back, and you hate to have a service error right there. 18-15, a critical point. The difference between 1 and 3 is palpable in a close game with the talent that's on the court here. Here's the serve for the Marines. It's dug out. Puts it back over. Smotek, this time a hard hit to Tusick. Kept alive, Tusick bumps it over. Avila with the set near side spike in bounds. Point for the Marines, now back up by 4. So both teams trading points, trading a pair of points. It was 15-13. Now it's 19-15 in set number 4. Here's the serve for the Marines. Ball pushed over. DeBeese with the spike. That's dug out. Smotek near side sends over to Avila, who has to put it over. DeBeese, another spike. That ball dug out by a pair of Marines. Has to go over and finds a hole in between Tusick and Chapman. It's 20-15. The Marines with a 5-point lead. There's the cushion. They need just 5 more for the win. Serve goes over. Ball lofted up. Carter with a touch pass right over the front 2. It was Wilson, I believe Hendrickson, the 2 right there. Air Force within 4. Here's the serve for Air Force. High set, smacked over, blocked by Air Force, but they're able to corral it. That's hit number 3, gets over. Yanchar with a set. And now they punch, blocked again. Back-to-back blocks from Air Force on this one. And now the Marines return the favor. Avila with a change of pace, that's off the net. And the Marines now 4 points away. It's 21-16. So the Marines with 2 of the last 3 points. Dug out in the back row, near side DeBeese. Dug out by Avila. Back row has to send it over. That ball in between her. Avila sets to her outside hitter, punches it over, but it's blocked. There's 2 hits. Avila has to push it over. She does so. Another slow hitter. That one not able to get there. That's certainly 3 hits. Air Force lose that point. It's 22-16. The Marines back in front by 6. Since set 1, where Air Force led by as many as 7, they haven't been able to continually hold momentum over this Marines team. Here's the set. Back row comes in. That's pushed over. DeBeese with the spike. Finds inbounds. 17-22. DeBeese keeping her team within 5. Kosis is going to go in. Rogers goes out. Doman goes out. I believe it's Alfieri. That 4th player coming in, and Alfieri now serving. Yanchar pushes it up. Outside hitter sends in Snowtek. That ball pushed back, dug out. Avila with the set. Punched over, back row. Short. DeBeese keeps it alive, though, and Tusek pushes it back up. Sloppy hit, but somehow gets it back over with another one. Now this play just completely breaks down. Molly Chapman not able to get it over for Air Force. 23-17. The Marines just 2 points away. Serve belongs to Hendrickson. Hendrickson hops, throws over. Tusek digs it out, and Alfieri puts it right into the net. 1 point from victory for the Marines. High hop, here it goes for Hendrickson. Dug out by Kosis. And that point belongs to the Marines. They win 25-17. Game, set, and match. It's all over. The Marines end up winning 3-1.
For making today's game such a success. Congratulations to each of the players in today's game on successful high school seasons, and we wish you well in your future endeavors. Please visit Ohio Varsity.
So the Marines get the win, and remember, both of these teams, all underclassmen, so all these girls will be back playing in the CVC, in the WRA, etc. for the rest of the or for another season at least. They're all juniors at the oldest, so all of these girls will have at least one more year, one more chance to impress a lot of scouts for college or to just further their playing careers. Remember, both teams with 12 players, both teams with 10 all-conference players. So a lot of really good players on both teams and a lot of players returning to those teams. Once again, the Marines win 3-1. We're going to take a brief break, and once we come back, it's time for the senior game. We're not that far away. That's going to start at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m., we'll see the Army All-Stars against the Navy All-Stars. We'll come back a little bit early to introduce the rosters and do exactly what we did here with some interviews. I've been John Kosis. Thanks for tuning in.